All right, it's your boy Boxing Learn. I'm talking about Lopez versus Kambosos timeline. This fight has had multiple dates to get it done, but Triller has ultimately backed out of the fight, and I want to go through all the fight dates. If you feel like this fight's been talked about for forever, it's because the purse bid for this fight was won way back in February 25th. Yep, that's right, early this year. You would think that they would already held this fight by now. Personally, if I was the Triller, I would have had this fight in late May. The original date was June 5th, but it was moved because of the June 6th exposition fight between Floyd Mayweather and Logan Paul. Then they rescheduled to June 19th for the next date, but Lopez tested positive for COVID-19, and it was pushed back even further. Then the next date they had scheduled, they wanted to do was August 14th. But there was a big problem because they wanted to do it in Australia. And then there was a big commotion. And then Lopez threatened to drop his IBF belt. Triller has insisted that they do it in Australia. That's when the IBF came in and they ruled that it was not to be in Australia because of the quarantine. This covers both the August 14th and the September 11th dates. They wanted it in Australia. So with the IBF ruling against that, they had to wait again to find another suitable date. And this is where we get to where we are now in the month of October. Originally, they picked October 15th, but they realized the Yankees were playing, so they moved it to October 4th. And then they eventually realized that it was Monday Night Football, so they tried to get it moved to October 16th. At first, Lopez was against it, but somehow they convinced this dude to sign an amendment to move it to October 16th. But the man, George Kambosos Jr., wasn't having it. He wanted to fight on October 4th. And George Kambosos Jr. is going through a lot right now. He just had his baby born and his grandfather died. Another thing is that he doesn't believe that Triller has the money to pay him that they said that they were going to pay. So Team Kambosos asked Triller to put the money in an escrow account. An escrow account is a legal arrangement in which a third party temporarily holds on to a large sum of money or property until a particular condition has been met. That is, in this case, immediately after the fight is done between George Kambosos Jr. and Teofimo Lopez. So when they refused to put the money in the escrow account, he demanded that they pay him up to $400,000 or more. Teofimo tried to do that, give the money to him out of his own paycheck, but he refused. He wanted it from Triller. And now his team is demanding that the IBF rules Triller in default of the fight so the fight can go to Matchroom. Whew, that was a lot. This fight should have been easy and simple. And now I don't even think people care anymore. And you're probably wondering what's next for George Kambosos Jr. and Teofimo Lopez. Well, they're waiting on what the IBF rules. If the IBF rules Triller in default, the fight will go to Matchroom. And if the Matchroom doesn't want it, then it'll go to Top Rank. But it's not likely that they're going to rule in favor of Triller because Triller just messed up and there's a lot of cases against them. You know, not doing their research on who they're going to come up against on the fight date of other sporting events. Come on, you got to do better than that. And I heard from Roy Jones Jr. that they didn't really know what they were doing. I can't remember what interview it was, but he said that they didn't know what they were doing. So all we're really waiting on is what the IBF rules. Until then, it's your boy Boxing Learn.